Is the United States rehearsing for airstrikes in Venezuela? Over the weekend and this morning, news outlets and newspapers around the world had this splashed on their first page. It seemed like the Pentagon has gone on a bit of an overdrive in sending out a message to what they call narco-terrorists in Venezuela, against whom, remember, the Trump administration has started a whole war in the past couple of months. In a way, we've been telling you about those actions. For days now, the US military has been busy building up its naval presence in the Caribbean. And on Sunday, the US president confirmed that he has spoken to the Venezuelan leader, Nicolás Maduro, in recent days. But before he confirmed that, Trump on Saturday had declared that airspace around Venezuela should be considered closed, which to many sounded like a hint that Trump is considering striking targets on land. On social media, Trump posted, I'm quoting, "To all airlines, pilots, drug dealers and human traffickers, please consider the airspace above and surrounding Venezuela to be closed in its entirety," quote unquote. That was the statement. Now, the story first reported by the Wall Street Journal on Saturday says that the US has been flying simulated attacks against Venezuela using fighter jets, bomber aircraft, citing flight tracking data, as well as defense official. In fact, the WSJ report says that the US rehearsal has been going on in recent weeks, reportedly. As per the report, the US has also been expanding its presence in the Caribbean to allow for an increased tempo in flight operations should Trump choose to move forward on further military action. Just last Wednesday, remember, the president of the Dominican Republic had said he authorized the US to refuel aircraft and transport equipment and personnel at restricted areas within the country to help fight drug trafficking. The announcement was made during a visit by the Secretary of Defense. And if that wasn't enough, the US is also reportedly installing a radar system on the island of Tobago, which sits several miles from Venezuela's coast. The Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago has said that US Marines were at the airport on the island working on its radar runway road that followed a Tuesday visit by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The WSJ report further says that the US has been using airports in Puerto Rico as well as flying missions of the USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier. The reports of US rehearsing for its strike then do not seem all that surprising. Just last week, Trump suggested that land strikes against Venezuela could be imminent. And during Thanksgiving remarks, Trump had said, I'm quoting, "The land is easier. That's going to start very soon. We warn them, stop sending poison into our country," quote unquote. Which then brings us to the question of, can America close another country's airspace? It cannot, but the Federal Aviation Administration can ban US airlines from flying to certain countries or in their airspace. And US carriers have not been flying to Venezuela for some time. The tensions also coming as the US pressures Maduro about his future. Remember, the Trump administration has deemed Maduro an illegitimate leader for alleged vote rigging, drug trafficking, human rights abuses allegedly, and says that he must leave office. In the call last week itself, Trump and Maduro reportedly discussed Venezuela's demands for a general amnesty for Maduro. His senior aides and their families, many of whom face US financial sanctions and criminal indictments. But Trump reportedly told Maduro that if he did not leave willingly, the US would consider other options, including the use of force. Remember, America has deployed a tremendous amount of combat power to the Caribbean, including its most advanced aircraft carrier, several Navy destroyers, F-35B fighter jets, among other weaponry. Since September, the US has also carried out more than 20 controversial strikes against boats that it says were carrying drugs, which have so far killed more than 80 people. To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.